It's time to speak with another member of the class of 2020 of the Bucknell Athletics Hall of Fame. So pleased to have standing next to me Andy Rendos from the wrestling program. Andy, congratulations. I bet you have to be thrilled with this honor.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, obviously with COVID pushing everything back, it's kind of delayed things. So it's exciting to be back and be back on campus.
You did such a great job in your time here. And I'm going to go back to a story that I recall. I remember being over at the football stadium, and I think you were by yourself. There may have been another one of the wrestlers out there. You were carrying logs up the steps at the stadium. You worked so hard. Is this kind of the culmination in many ways of all that hard work?
I think it is. I mean, obviously, the hard work was meant for probably, the All-American status and national championships and kind of putting myself through that hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But, this is kind of not a residual, but it's just, one thing that you don't think about during your time here.
When you decided to put yourself on the line with Bucknell Wrestling, it was a brand new program. Was that something that you were thinking, I don't know if I really want to get involved in?
Well, it was, I guess, a calculated risk, but a lot of times you got to kind of trust in the coaches, and obviously it was, looking back, it obviously was the right choice for me and for myself, stepping into a brand new program and making my mark and kind of leaving my legacy here. So that was a huge thing for me too as well.
Well, that brings up a great point. I remember at Davis Gym, packed Davis Gym, Missouri was in, you going against the number one wrestler, and you beat him. That had to be one of the bright moments of your regular season, not NCAA and postseason, but one of the bright moments of your duels, wasn't it?
Well, honestly, I think was one of my brightest moments of my whole career. It kind of showed all the hard work that I put into the summer and all the stuff I've been doing. It just kind of rewarded me for that time and kind of solidified, how good I was at that time.
When you finished, was he a little surprised that you beat him? Did you ever get a feel for that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But I mean, I knew how good I was at that time. And I guess, whether other people believed in me or not, it kind of really didn't matter. It was what I believed in myself at that time.
Then you, of course, like we said, participated in the NCAAs, became an All-American. Talk about that journey, because it is a journey. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of hard effort. But in wrestling, it's so much different because it's a lifestyle. Coach Warrensberger always loves to talk about lifestyle. And it is. You have to be able to keep your body ready all the time, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's just not, going to practice every day. It's both on and off the mat. When you go home, it doesn't stop. It's always, in the back of your mind, you always put in the little things, the little things matter in the end. So I was just trying to live that lifestyle and kind of put myself in a position where I knew I could succeed overall.
You did succeed overall. Was there any moment other than that, match we mentioned at Davis Gym against Missouri? Was there any moment that stands out in your mind, Andy?
A few. I mean, obviously, when we first embarked on this, you call it a journey and I call it a grind. But yeah, I mean, obviously my All-American rounds where you knew after you won, you knew you were an All-American kind of stuck out to me. And obviously that being the number one guy in the country is obviously a high point in my career. And you always kind of, think back on a couple of those different matches.
When you look at the beautiful Bill Graham facility here, do you say in some ways, yeah, I didn't get to participate in that, didn't get to work hard in that and practice in that and take advantage of all that, but in many ways I laid the foundations that helped to build that?
I do. I mean, it is, you always want the new and brand new items, but, I think back at like that it may or may not be there, if I hadn't, given what I gave to the program, and that's what matters, and those kids benefited from moving forward. And yeah, if you had asked me that question 10 years ago, it probably would be different. But I'm glad those kids have that facility and are able to compete on the level that they do.
Well, let's get caught up to date with Andy Rendos. What are you doing? Are you still involved in some capacity in wrestling?
So I am. I still kind of coach wrestling in the high school and a lot of different programs. So I am involved, and it's tough to get away once I've lived it for 20 plus years of my life. You just can't shut it off like a light switch. So I still keep involved in the community and then kind of give back because, all the hard work and dedication, I feel like, I wasted my whole career if I can't pass it off to somebody else.
Are you still in the state of Pennsylvania?
I am in the state of Pennsylvania. I'm only about maybe an hour and 15 minutes north in a little town called Wellsboro, Pennsylvania.
And now, this is not the first time you've been back on campus, so you get an opportunity to kind of regularly meet with Coach Warrensberger and so forth. Are you still imparting wisdom on him and maybe helping out with recruiting in terms of if you see a kid, say, hey, Bucknell's the place to be?
I try. I know I've talked to Warrensberger, and I'm also in good communication with LaValle and just kind of check on the program because, obviously you build it from the ground up and you always want to kind of see what the works of what you kind of put in is doing and how they're doing and throughout the year.
And you definitely have laid that groundwork. Before we let you go here, Andy, in the class of 2021, because as you mentioned, this year is so crazy with the virus last year and you all not being able to participate in your regular induction ceremony year, Kevin LaValle is going to be inducted the same weekend. How neat is that?
So it is cool. It's great. It's great for the program. It's great for, us as a rescue community, because obviously, LaValle almost came in when I was here. We spent 3+ years together. So it's really cool to kind of see how this has kind of transpired over the years. And it's great that, it's come to the time that, we're putting a lot of people into the Hall of Fame. And it's kind of shows the work that was put into the first, couple recruiting class to lay the foundation to moving forward, how important it was to be successful in those first couple of years.
Well, I'll tell you, you were a huge part of that, Andy. Congratulations for all of that you have done for the Bucknell program, but especially this time getting inducted into the Athletics Hall of Fame. Well-deserved, buddy.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Andy Rendos, another inductee into the 2020 class of Bucknell Athletics Hall of Fame.